Darren Rovell, ESPN Sports Business reporter, kind enough to join us here. Darren, thanks for joining us. Where did Puma come from that now all of a sudden...
6'2" with the hair, Dan.
What is it now?
6'2" with the hair,
Okay.
183.2.
All right. You got a lot of hair, too. If I cut off that hair, you're about 6 foot. All right. Where did Puma come from here?
Out of nowhere. I mean, they had no legacy other than Vince Carter, in the late 90s. And, after 99, he was gone and he went to Nike and people forgot about them. Other than Usain Bolt, and they did nothing with Usain Bolt. I mean, they could have turned, given how dynamic Usain Bolt was, they could have turned some sort of street shoe into the Bolt, and, they never did. They never capitalized off him. So it was only about 3 weeks ago that I heard these guys at Puma, they've been doing pretty well on classic shoes. They're ready to make a splash in the basketball market, and the time is right. One, Nike has everyone they want: LeBron, Durant, Kyrie when he gets back, everyone they want. Adidas is doing so well in the classics, and up 20% in 2017. So Under Armour is almost completely out of the game by the fact that they're struggling. So this is actually a good year to get. And Big Baller brand is pretty much gone. So this is a good year to get in, and they decided to make a move.
What about Jay-Z involved in the creative control or whatever his official title?
That was a disaster yesterday. I mean, Puma put out that he was the president of Puma basketball. And then all of a sudden, all these agents are getting their undies in a bunch, and maybe rightfully so. The fact that he owns Rock Nation Sports, one of his guys, Larry Smith, signs with Puma. And then, you wonder from a NBA Players Association standpoint to regulate agents, is it considered an inducement? Is it considered like, okay, well, you come to me, I'll wrap up the Puma deal, and by the way, I'll give you 2 or 3 times the market value. So that immediately became a concern, and then 5 or 6 hours later, I don't know who was backtracking, but I was talking to Rock Nation, and they clearly said in the contract it says creative consultant, creative director, not president of Puma basketball. And, by the end of the night, they're like, he does not have power, but he is going to be a creative force. I still don't think this is solved. This is not going to be the end of it.
Most market ability of the current NBA draft class is who?
I think it's Trae Young, and I also think because, he seems to fall out at the Knicks, I think that obviously makes it more so. Bagley's getting a lot. I don't think we have a slam dunk, but certainly setting up for Trae Young, obviously, because so many people already know him. And if it just worked out to the Knicks, that would be something special as far as Madison Avenue is concerned.
Talking to Darren Rovell, ESPN Sports Business reporter. I'm curious, I mentioned this to the Danettes, and I'm sure there's data on this, but are we more likely to buy a shoe by somebody who is smaller, somebody our size, or relatability, as opposed to Marvin Bagley and DeAndre Ayton selling Pumas? Is there any data that backs that up?
Yes. Yeah, clearly point guards, shooting guards, even forwards have better success selling shoes. The only person, there's only one center. I mean, Ewing couldn't sell shoes. Elijah Warren couldn't sell shoes. There's only one center who has sold shoes, and that's Shaq. Now, he wasn't selling a ton of shoes when his Reeboks were going for $100 in 1994. He was only starting to sell massive pairs of shoes when he did deals with J.C. Penney and was selling them for $34, and he sold millions and millions of pairs. So yes, it is more of a challenge for a bigger guy to sell shoes at a $80 to $90 plus price point, simply because people don't relate. They see themselves as 6'6'1". I mean, when they look at themselves, they see a Trae Young or Steph Curry. It's hard to relate to the big guys.
Darren, good to catch up with you. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate it.
got it. Take care, bud.
Darren Rovell, ESPN Sports Business Reporter.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.